Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we have a huge amount of casting leaks to go over for season 2 of the Wheel of Time. So if these are the sort of videos you do love to find and to learn and understand about who's being cast, please consider subscribing down below, as I will be bringing you these as and when they drop. So let's jump right in. So to begin with, let's go over one of the first actors that has now been leaked for the second season of the Wheel of Time, and that is a British actress by the name of Laura Crowhurst, who has been on Doctors and the Last Bus. I don't think any of you would be quite aware of what those shows are, but she will appear in the second season. Now, while we don't necessarily know who she will be playing, there is a at least vague similarity between her likeness of Verin from the kind of illustrations of her that we have gotten to this point. And so you can't help but notice those similarities. Now, of course, one of the things here is kind of the difference of ages. As we know, Verin is very much a lot older in the show, but maybe for this show we're kind of having a different sort of feel or look of the way Aes Sedai are going to be showcased within their ages. And so I'm not necessarily sure whether or not she would make for a great Verin in terms of her age, but certainly appearance-wise, she would have the look of someone who I believe would, make a very good visual representation of Verin on the show. So yeah, that's one. So what do you guys make of this casting? This is all, of course, speculation on my behalf and, of course, Redanian intelligence in terms of who she is playing. But I do see a striking similarity between herself and the way Verin has been, illustrated, and just the general descriptions of her we've gotten throughout the books. So that's the first one, but it does not end there. Up next we have a Game of Thrones and Shadowrunner star by the name of Tudor. Now he will be playing a really important character from the Great Hunt book, but also of course for this second season, and that is of course of Barthanes Damodred. Now of course that's for two reasons. One, he's obviously a relative of Moraine, but then of course secondly, he has an important role in the Great Hunt. And of course, what we know that goes on in there. So, in the books, of course, Barthanes is the high seat of House Damodred and cousin to the late King Lamon. Like many in his circle, he is, of course, deeply involved in Das Demar, which is, of course, the old tongue for the game of houses, which is a pastime for nobles, with their kind of social and political trickery that they use in their city to kind of outplay their rivals. And so if the books, well not the books, if the show stays true to the books, we'll also see him pursue other interests that we all know about. But I don't want to give too much away in case anybody out there stumbles across this video and didn't take my warning at the beginning. Now, next we have a Japanese actress by the name of Haruka Kuroda. She was in Killing Eve. So in the second season, she will be playing one of Min Farshaw's aunts. Now, up to this moment, we don't know which of the three aunts she will be playing, because as we know, Min has three aunts that raised her, and at that, a very strict raising and upbringing for Min. And as we all know, those are the names that they go by of Jan, Rana, and Miren. So we don't know who out of those three aunts she is playing. She could be playing one of the three, or it could be an amalgamation of all three of them, which would be interesting and would make sense in terms of having a cutting down of characters that aren't necessary for the show. You don't necessarily need three aunts for Min. I think you can condense them all into one, and she can do the job that all three of them did in the books. Because as we all know, there's so many characters throughout this series, and a lot of them are going to be cut. A lot of them will be mixed together to create new characters for this show. And I think this is going to be one of those more likely candidates for the show, especially with this, because like I've just mentioned, you do not need three aunts to be raising Min. just one, and you can, you know, combine all of them into this one. So perhaps she will have a different name in the show, or perhaps they'll just stick and choose one of the names that we all know from Min's aunts. And now finally, the last casting announcement is that of a young actress, which is Natasha J Murray. She's already finished filming her part of the second season, but there is no information of her role as of yet. So we will be kept updated if Redanian intelligence do find out any more information on her role. But yeah, I think this is a really interesting leak of casting announcements that we've gotten. I think there's some huge roles in here. I think the fact that we have someone that could potentially be playing Varen is huge. I've heard talk from people, some people saying they thought maybe Varen could be cut. I just could not see her being cut because she has such an iconic, she is an iconic character with iconic moments that we all know. And so to cut those and not have them play out on the show would be a travesty for me personally. So I'm very happy to see that particular actress who could be playing Varen on the show be cast. Also, that of Barthanes Damodred is a really intriguing one, as I mentioned already, not only because of his ties to certain characters and where he is from, but actually it is where he is from, because obviously at the end of the day, quite a lot happens in that sequence in The Great Hunt where Rand, Tom, Matt, and was Loyal there? He might have been there still. I'm not sure. My memory does not serve me well. But I know those other three were there at the least. And as we all know, they get up to certain things within the Barthanes, manor or mansion, which I won't go into because I don't want to spoil it, just in case anybody out there isn't watching. But it's really cool to see and get an understanding of where they will be taking this second season in certain sections of this season 2. I think we're getting a smaller, albeit better understanding of where the show is more likely going to be going in the second season with these casting announcements, which I think is cool. The only intriguing one to me is, and in terms of timing, is that of Haruka Kuroda, because we get introduced to Min in the first season. And so what would be the benefit or the reasoning behind having an aunt of hers introduced in the second one and not along with her in the first? What's the reasoning behind that? That's, to me, one of the more intriguing aspects of this casting leak that we've gotten. But yeah, I believe that's where I'm going to end this video. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it and have enjoyed these new casting announcements for the show. I think there's some major potential roles here that haven't been necessarily spoken about, which I've mentioned. Varen is one. The fact we're getting Barthanes Damodred is hugely important, especially for that second season. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this second season all pans out. Anyway guys, thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like down below. And of course, as always, comment on anything that catches your eye from these casting announcements. Alright guys, I will catch you all in another video later on down the line.